Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live special unboxing today, as I'm going to get stuck into these two cheekies. Yes, it's the Night Force 2-pack of Vincent R. Falcon and Quarrel. Fresh from my journey to New York over the weekend. I am back. I did promise an unboxing specifically today. We're going to go through this one, and then of course Monday, if there's no there could be news, and if there is, then I'll be getting into Starduster as well. These two sets came over the weekend before I left, so I didn't want to rush anything out. Not that I really had an opportunity to. So I thought let's do this one now, because I want to get them out, and I want to play with them, and I want to display them. No, I want to play with them as well. And the same with Starduster. So I figured you guys could join me in busting these open. And I know the other thing is, it's not like anything crazy special, because I know a lot of people already have both of these, but I thought it'd be fun just to, hark back to the unboxing video days. My things are stuck in my neck here. Hark back to the video unboxing days that we used to do, and just chat a little bit, and I'll tell you all about the weekend while I go through this too. Let's do it. A couple of people in the chat already. Hello Jeremy, hello Real Zim, hello Agent Chuckles, GI Bro, Pastor Pierogi, Ryan Daly, hello. Did you snag my donut? Sorry Jeremy, I did bring some donuts back, but Kate and I decimated them. Put a hat on, I am afraid of this change. Sorry Steps, it's not really a change. I've always had my hair out. It's just for a long period of time, it's just been hats on streams and stuff, but I usually do have my hair out in real life. Hello Chris G, hello Johnny B54. Right, let's get into this awesome 2-pack, this Shakur, if you will. But first, a slight change of graphics. Did you notice the change? Yeah, I just removed my name from the corner of the screen. Right, let's get into this then, and I'll actually, before we get into this, sorry to bug you, I want to show you a little bit of my haul from the weekend. And when I say haul, it is the weakest version of a haul ever. It's all the freebies, effectively, that I picked up. We'll start with, and this isn't really this is just fun to look at, but it's this little Ghostbusters HasLab flyer, which has got information about all that you get in the HasLab, the deluxe and regular versions and everything. Tully's in there as well, the Ghostbusters figures and all that stuff. And then a little FAQ on the back if you've got any questions, and also a little QR code that takes you straight to 2000. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of cute, so I picked that up. Also, while we're at the con, first off, massive shout out to Hasbro and Emily mainly for getting me in on Friday. So this is awesome. This is my exhibitor pass. Lovely, isn't it? Very cool. So thank you very much to Hasbro for that. The panel was wicked. There's a little dagger here on my table, and I'm embarrassed to not know. Is this the Marine Sniper's dagger? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, female Marine Sniper. Found it. It's all sorted now. I was about to say I'm embarrassed to not know what it is and why it was on my table. But anyway, that was my exhibitor pass. Now, for watching the panel and being in the panel, we got some nice little goodies. We got this, and I joked. I did this on the stream, but I was joking in our chat about. I said, "Have you guys seen the HasLab? It's pretty cool." I said, "I'm probably not going to get involved in it though. It doesn't have any patches." And then we got this HasLab Ghostbusters patch for being in the panel, which was really cool. So massive thank you for that. And also, it was just the perfect timing. And then I took a picture of it and sent it to them anyway, which I thought was, just like, guys, there are patches. And then the only other thing I picked up, because I was literally I went into the show at like 3:30ish, right? Met up with the great folks at Hasbro who gave me the pass and everything. So I wandered around on it. It must have been less than 10 minutes. I walked around, got some footage and stuff, utilized the bathroom facilities, and then I was like, right, I'm going to get to the panel. So I walked to the panel room, which was quite a distance. I mean, that place is huge. The Javits Center is massive. and it is just like there's too many people there. It's not my favorite scenario. Like, I have heard all about NYCC, I've heard all about SDCC. I'm not a massive fan of the footfall. It was free, yes, and so because of that, I was just really happy to go straight to the panel and just wait in line for it would have been an hour. I got the room wrong initially. I was standing in line for 409 for about 5-10 minutes or whatever, and then I looked at my phone, and I just happened to be perusing our own page to see what people were saying or what have you, to posts I was making, and I happened to look at the post for this, and I'm like, oh, hang on, it's room 408, not 409. I was like, crap. So I went to change lines, and then realized when I looked at the line that it should have been, it just kept going, and it came wrapped round again. It was just the longest line ever. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to get in, am I? So I got into the queue, and then it just kept going. People kept arriving and getting in the queue. And this was I want to say it was probably we were less than an hour waiting, because it was 5:15 that it kicked off, and this must have been 4:35, 4:40 by that point. So we weren't waiting very long, but in that time I was in the queue, I thought miles away. It doubled, or maybe even, it doubled. It was huge. And I thought, I might get lucky here. I don't know how big the room is really. And then we went in, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness. Now I was all the way over to the left. It's a very long room. They had two massive screens either side. The presenters were in the middle. I was all the way over to the left. Then there was a segment of seating in the middle and a segment of seating on the right. So I was all the way over to the left, probably 4 seats in from the left and about 3 lines back. But I had a perfect view of the screen. I was right in front of the screen. It was perfect. And I was hoping the pictures would come out a little bit better, but there's something with that, taking a photo of a bright screen in a lit room is lit, man. It was lit. Just does not, you have to have a proper decent camera. The phone just doesn't work it out, basically. Anyway, awesome panel, really enjoyed it. Enjoyed seeing all the other stuff as well, because there was a lot of other brands obviously involved. So we got to see Ghostbusters first, and then G.I. Joe was second, so that was good. Got that done, took all the pictures, and then just sat there posting them while Transformers was happening. And I wanted to watch the Transformers panel, but I was literally having to send multiple pictures on a fairly weak signal, and it took a while. Anyway, in terms of swag, not a great deal, but as we were leaving, they said, you have because you've been in the panel, we've got everybody an ash can of G.I. Joe 1, this beautiful Night Force kind of shiny cover, which is really neat, with this also really cool back cover as well. And it's got effectively it's the issue 1 with some really cool there's no kind of speech bubbles in it. It's just the just the art, but it's very cool. I'm not sure I don't think it's the full comic. I think it's shy of the full comic, but it doesn't really give any spoilers away. I'm not going to show it on screen for those that haven't, or that want to read it when it comes out. But you do get these really cool little bio pieces, art pieces as well in there too. Really nice. Flint and Jay there, and Cover Girl and Cobra Commander. That was really nice. And Mercer and Scrap Iron. Very themed there, colourfully themed. Chameleon and a Trooper. And what else we got? Oh yeah, and then the back cover. So that's really, really cool. I love that we got that. That was a nice little kind of collector's item. And then went to the next day, went to the Hasbro breakfast after traversing the streets of New York. I could be back. I've actually I used to kind of live and work in New York, and really enjoyed it. It wasn't for a massive amount of time, but it was a decent clip of time. And I really, really loved the vibe of the place. I love the city. It's huge. I don't know how it works. How does New York work? Seriously, just blows my mind, that place. But in any case, because we went to the Hasbro breakfast the next day, fortunately, I got another one. So for being in the panel, you got one, and for going to the Hasbro press breakfast, I got one of these as well, and got to chat to two awesome guys, Sean and Bob, from the Skybound team. That was so cool. And I just basically was just gushing over how much I love the comics at the moment. Got into some really kind of cool discussions and everything about the whole thing. And so hopefully we'll be able to get like a little interview with those guys as well soon. So details were passed around and everything. So that was awesome. Also, can I tell you my crazy stories? So this is like seriously small world stuff, right? The first one, I know you want me to see. I know you want this unboxing, but you're getting more. The first crazy thing that happened was, so I'm good friends with Nick Wells at In Demand Toys. He's my very, very best friend in the whole world. Now Nick had told me previously that someone that he knew, like a friend of his, had just got a job for Hasbro UK, and they eventually were going to be relocating and we're going to be moving to my area, right? And I was like, well, that's cool. But this was ages ago. This is like, I don't know, freaking over a year ago when I think this guy got the job at Hasbro UK. Anyway, Brandon, his name is. He did an amazing video of Nick's store once as well. He's on YouTube. And he I watched it, saw it, spoke, and thought it was really cool. Anyway, Nick had spoken to him about me and said, like, I do Full Force podcast and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, okay, right, I'll look out, chat. Maybe we can link up or whatever in the future. Anyway, that time goes by. I get to the Hasbro press breakfast, and I bump into this guy, and I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Chris. And he's like, hey, I'm Brandon. And we both realized we were British, obviously, as you do in the middle of New York. And he was like, oh, another Brit. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then he looked at me and he says, wait, I know that name. I recognize, why do I know it from? And I was like, I don't know. Have you watched the podcast? He's like, yeah, it's the Full Force, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm like, that's really cool that you know that. Like, I don't expect people to know it, even the ones that are in, the blooming fandom or Hasbro or whatever. And then he said, and I went, hang on. You're Nick's mate, aren't you? And we were just like, had this like really funny, like, what the hell? Like, kind of like, we know the same person all the way out in Norwich. It was kind of weird, right? And fun. So all of the things started falling into place, and yeah, it was really cool. So we got chatting and everything, and that was fun. And so that was really interesting. That was the first one. It wasn't too crazy because obviously he's Hasbro adjacent, so it's not like the craziest situation in the world. But it was funny that we just bumped into each other and then just started being like, oh, hang on, Nick Wells. Anyway, infamous in New York City. So that was the first one. The second one, I'm leaving the press breakfast. I'm getting to my train at Penn Station. And if you've ever been to, no, not Penn, it was Moynihan. It's at Penn Station, but it's the Moynihan train terminal. And if you've ever been there, it's massive. And there's about 500 entrances and exits, right? It's huge. So as I'm going to go into a door at a random time, and then like whatever, just a random time during the day, I am going to this door to go in and to go in there, but then some other people go into that door. So I went onto the other door, right? There's a reason why I'm saying this. And when I went to the other door, and you imagine there's like about 50 friggin' doors, I go to this random door just to avoid other people that are going in. And as I go to open it, it opens, and coming out is my vet. Like the vet that we've known for the last couple of years. We've taken Phoebe before she passed away, obviously, to this vet, and she was coming out as I was going in, and I saw her as she opened the door for me, and I went, hi, and she looked at me and she was like, do I know you? And I was like, yeah, you're my vet. It's Chris McLeod. And she was like, oh my god. And we were just like sitting there, just like completely, because out of context, you just don't know. Like I was confused as well because I recognized her, but didn't quite know initially until she was like, do I know you? And then I was like, yes, I'm pretty sure, or this is the most embarrassing moment of the day. I wouldn't say my life because there's been more, but it was so random. So like, we chatted and everything and took a selfie just to prove that this happened. And then she went off to her weekend with friends, and I went home. And it was just like, that was the craziest thing ever. So that was like two like random small world moments. And then on the train, I ended up talking to someone who performed in Norwich, my city, my home city, and we knew people in common. Isn't that mental? Norwich in Norfolk in the United Kingdom, they're a performer and they've made music. It's on Spotify and all that kind of jazz, and got chatting about the music scene, and Norwich came up, and I'm like, what are you talking about, Norwich? Because I was British, and that obviously was the thing. I've done a UK tour, and I was like, that's really cool. A friggin' and then the names that were coming out, and I was just, yeah, know that person, I know that person. I think it's just mind blowing. So anyway, 3 very small world things happened on the same day. That was the weirdest day yesterday. Weirdest day ever. Anyway, unboxing is what you came here for, and I just took you on a random ride. So let's look at the box first, shall we? Okay, Night Force, Falcon, and Quarrel. Yeah, let me know your crazy small world stories in the chat as well while we're getting through this. Can you believe I'm at MetLife watching the Giants-Eagles game, and I'd rather watch your special? Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. Wilfredo, NYC, my hometown. Love it or hate it, the city just can't be ignored. It's unreal. I love it. I have a lot of love for New York. In New York, we stay fresh cheese bags. That's how it works. Yes, in fact, you do. New York Night, 1974. Stepstoy says mine got unboxed 2 weeks ago, so I'll take the stories. Thanks. Exactly. So it's not, this isn't the main thing. It's all about the stories. Penn is the worst place on earth. So it wasn't too bad when I was there, but yeah, it can be a bit of a pain. Diana Davis says a co-worker of my mother's decided to risk driving drunk from a party he attended on his summer vacation in a completely different state. What? He got into a crash. He crashed into their boss. That's nuts. That is nuts. Wow. It was a fun business trip, Jeremy. Yes, indeed. Not Diana's co-worker, but yes, for me, it was great. Right. Is New York the place in that Taylor Swift song? Probably, Ryan. I'm just going to say yes. Quarrel is fantastic, says Slave. Yes, I'm assuming. So there's the box. We've got the usual Night Force gubbins on there. Open, obviously, the open plastic kind of the clear window. We've got the beautiful artwork here. We've got a cheeky little falcon face, and we've got a more determined Quarrel there. So cheeky falcon, determined Quarrel. 138. We all know the gubbins by now. That's a lot of ability things, isn't it? But we're not going to get into that. I'm sure Scott will be on here soon, giving me the lowdown of what they all are. But I'm not going to go into that. What else have we got going on? We also, of course, have this beauty on the back. So they are obviously continuing this narrative in the mines, the Dark Energon mines. They're going in there a little bit unprotected, really, aren't they? Falcon and Quarrel in this mine, which is now teeming with Dark Energon crystals. I couldn't see anything else necessarily in there that was kind of like homaging anything, but pretty cool nonetheless. And then the call outs on the back, we have the steel core helmet with, I didn't realize, I don't think I've noticed that yet, the little wings decoed on the side. I think that's adorable. There's that patch again that we've seen now on a number of Night Force characters, and that, which I can only assume is some sort of, I don't know, timer type thing with a pouch. Anyway, nice one. Let's get stuck into this beauty. So I'm utilizing a blade here. Just a little bit of tape on the side, and then out they come. So this has definitely been one I've been like very excited for. Oddly, I've been really excited for Starduster as well. So there they are in the package, legal, which I don't think anyone cares about really. There they are in the plastic with all their gear, lots of nice shiny equipment. We'll get into all of that, and we'll take all of this out as well. Man, I'm loving these already. It looks like we're looking at Falcon first. We'll save Quarrel to second, because saving the best to last, if you know what I mean. But this is great having this Falcon, and in hand, that is a very, very good head sculpt. and definitely one that I have been, you know, I've been vocal in my, not enjoyment of the other Falcon head, but that is a quite serious upgrade. Let's have a look at that head right now. There he is with removable beret. He says, not being able to remove it. There we go. So there's his removable beret, and he's got the classic fade going on the side, the hair on top, the same haircut that most of them have to some degree, and then of course his beret there with the nice little logo on the front as well. Very nice indeed. Yeah, this is a cool head sculpt, more than anything. We've also got let's have a look at the rest of the figure. The secondary across there, the black and the brown secondary with the shells on there. We've got the shoulder pieces, which I will probably end up removing on this Falcon, because I do like the silhouette and the look of Falcon without them. I know why they're there. Obviously, there's an homage there to his a couple of figures in the 4-inch modern line that in kind of included those shoulder sort of armor pieces. But he's got, some pretty big old arms there. I think that's like an Outback body. I want to say Outback body and arms. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing on that, but it does look, and you'll probably be able to tell me in the comments what the situation is there. But I really do love Falcon without the shoulder pieces, and I will probably display him without those. And again, it's not to kind of bash on them, but I just like the I've always liked the Falcon with that kind of more like a looser, more kind of chill, like form fitting, if you know what I mean. Like the bulkiness of aspects to Falcon, I kind of usually do away with, but I've got to admit, I do like and I do love that the tampo that's on all of the Night Force guys. In fact, my one has got a mark on it, I believe. Yeah, that is like a little kind of, yeah, I've got a mark on mine. Not that fast, honestly, but yeah, you can see like there's a little kind of cut in the middle of it, kind of a bit blurred and messed up, which is a shame because it's a really cool patch, and I do like that patch with the griffin in there. But yeah, I am 100%, and this is the other shoulder piece with the shells. Michelle's very cool. So yeah, they're gonna live over there. I do like the neckerchief though. I've got to admit, I do like that. And there's a shot from the back of the secondary. Again, loads of texture on that too, which is really nice. Pouches in the belt with the shotgun shells again, and like nice little details around the belt with the pouches. Very nice indeed. And he's got a loop on that belt as well for, I guess, something. I know he's got a blade here. I think it must be for that. It must be for a knife. We'll see. That ain't a knife. I don't know what stuff comes with who though. That's the thing, because there's loads of stuff in the middle that then I guess sort of has to get divvied up. Anyway, that is Falcon, and we can have a look at his legs as well if you like. There's his crotch. Nice brown, green on the knees, nice little deco touch there, and of course the black boots, and of course the little holster and the other little secondary on the thigh there. Very nice. Oh, it's flashlight. Sorry, yeah. So the flashlight goes in there. That makes a lot more sense. People saying you need a bit of heat on that to get it in there, and I probably don't doubt that. Let's try and rip that off there. A lot of this is finding out for the first time, so bear with me as I wrestle with all of these things. Excuse me. Yeah, it looks like I might need a bit of heat to get that in there because it is a bit tight at the moment. I've got a hair on me as well. That was upsetting. Okay, get on there. Get on there. Yeah, you're right. It's going to need a little bit of heat, and I will probably do that not now. I do have a little hairdryer by the side of me, but yeah, that is just not. Wow, it's gone in. It's gone in. And then immediately popped out again. Yeah, that's going to need heat. In any case, you should be able to get this little flashlight in there. Beep. But yeah, go from bottom first. Excuse me. Oh, I see what you mean. Like go from the bottom of the loop to kind of like stretch it out a little bit. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that could work. But I'm going to be here for months. Oh yeah, that has actually worked. Thank you for that. Who said that? Chris G. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, that did actually work. It's kind of like found its way in there now and stretched the loop a little bit. Anyway, I'll do that later. So we've got a flashlight. We've actually got 2 flashlights in this set. I hate it when the tape rips because I usually like put it back sort of thing. But yeah, this tape is really kind of brittle that's holding that in. I don't know why. Oh, flip that out. So yeah, we've got 2 flashlights or torches. I'm guessing 1 for Quarrel and 1 for old Falcon's pants as well. Although I bet Quarrel doesn't have anywhere to put hers either, because I know there's been some issues there with storage. We also, of course, have one of my favourites. Not the plastic blooming thing that makes an absolute noise when you try to get stuff out. And also, what a pain in the butt that is. It's so much easier to open a bag and have everything fall out onto the table rather than try and fight the thing out of the plastic case. But here we have the steel core helmet with that wing tampo on either side, which is very neat, like that. It's a red, green, and black deco. Let's just pop his head off and see what that looks like. Now, I am probably, like I said, I'm going to be displaying Falcon with his actual Falcon, new Falcon head sculpt, but that looks pretty darn cool. And I think if another set of this was to be procured in some way, shape, or form, I would utilize the steel core and the shoulder pads as well to make it more of like a steel core kind of character or, you know, troop rather than Falcon himself. Stop Falcon yourself. What? So I am going to pop the old regular noggin back on him. Bosh. He's back. And let's have a look at some more of these wonderful accessories it comes with. Of course, we've got Reuse City. We've got the is this Tunnel Rats? Night Vish. Pretty neat. We've got I hate plastic trays with my entire being. We've got the shotgun, which I don't know if they've improved this or not. We'll find out when I bend this over. Kitty said. Looks like it is. Looks like it's a lot better in terms of not breaking up. I just wanted to push that down. Yeah. So that did not pop off like the other one. My other one is like Buckaroo. Like you go near it. Like this is really solid. Like that is a nice action that stays up there. The other one, forget it. It will never stay on. You have to get it in like a certain position and then it stays there forever. But this is nice and you know, solid, brilliant stuff. So they've improved the shotgun, or at least from my perspective, the shotgun has improved. We have got the backpack, which is actually, I will say, in this particular scenario, is better to be in this plastic case because it now means that this radio wire or antenna that's on my other one has got a flex, like a thingy mark in it where it was bent in the bag somehow. So that was another problem. There was, and it's got like a stress mark on it, which stands out like really, really, you know, obviously because of the color. But this one is nice and clean. There's the backpack with all the details and the canteens and the rope and all the details in the bag. Very nice indeed, like it. And of course, yeah, like I said, the antenna is a nice and secure on there. No issues, no problems. What else is Guanin in there? Let's put the knife in there because he's got a big old knife. He's got this one, which I think goes in the backpack, just like the vintage kind of style. That's a nice touch, of course, for all your vintage Falcons. So I pop that in that way. You guys might put it in the other way, I don't know, but whatever, it's in there now. Sorted. We've got so many daggers in this set, absolute daggers. We've got the Range Viper grenade launcher, I want to say. That's really nice. I like that as an addition, with the revolving barrel, the kind of revolving, I forget what it's called, but that in there, magazine. And then you've got the another kind of machine gun as well, which is cool, with the removable little, I think you can take this off. You can, yeah. I'm not going to, because it's on there. Yeah, it's on there and in there, so that'll stay on there for now. With it, yeah, that's a nice one as well. Who had this one last? Is it Ben? It looks like, no, it's not Ben's. Is it a retool of Big Ben's, or is it just Range Vipers again? I think it's just Range Vipers. It must be Range Vipers, just all Range Vipers gear. So that, I think, oh, there's a pistol as well, which obviously goes with Falcon, or this pistol anyway, the one that's in the middle of the two rather than to the other side of Quarrel. And that one right there is pretty nice as well. I'm going to pop that in his holster on the side here. Got a lot going on in this holster. It's a lot of activity and detail going on in this holster. It's not just a holster, it's also that little weird pouch as well, which is probably like, you know, in reality got some ammunition in it or something for like magazines or what have you. But that's really neat. So yeah, Falcon is sort of nearly all geared up. I'll put all of his, this is how I'm going to display him, okay? So I don't care what you say. But here he is with Mr. Shotty. All right, let's get it in his hands. There we go. Excuse me. So yeah, weird weekend then for me. What were your weekends like? Pretty cool, I hope. Apologies, I couldn't stream the panel. People were trying and were doing it, but I just had no literal bandwidth to do it. There is my Falcon and how he will be displayed with his backpack, his knife, his shotgun, and his pistol in there. And I will put the flashlight in the belt eventually as well. That's where that will live. But for now, that is how my Falcon is going to look on display. That means I do have a couple of things left over, like the goggles, night vision goggles, the steel core helmet, which is as rad as it is. I kind of want another one of these just so I can turn this guy into a standard steel core kind of trooper. Of course, the shoulder pieces I've been taking off as well, because as much as they do add a nice little kind of element to the figure, you can take them off as well if you want. And that's what I'm going to do, because I think I prefer the kind of shape of the body and the form-fitting shirt on Falcon rather than all the bulk and all the armor and stuff like that. That's just a personal preference. And of course, these machine guns, the Range Viper machine guns, they're not involved either. So I think with, you know, maybe another 2-pack maybe down the road, and of course his flashlight, I will more than likely build him up like a different trooper with a different weapon and everything. But there's his shotgun. I've got it folded up as well, like just kind of, you know, just because it's a little bit easier when holding it, that's not sticking out and in the way unless I'm posing him in that way. But there you go. Hasbro have posted the panel themselves, Paul. Yeah, I shared that about an hour or so ago. So the full panel is there. But like I said, I'm sorry I couldn't stream it at the time, is what I'm saying. I figured like getting the information and the pictures out eventually was okay. I put the goggles on Quarrel. They barely stay on her. Might have to tack them on at the back. The night vision goggles. Yeah, I didn't realize they were for her because they were on like his side. So yeah, maybe you can kind of move some of these accessories around a little bit. But speaking of Quarrel, shall we get stuck into Header Pulver? Yeah, let's do it. So let's talk a little bit about the original Quarrel. So Header Pulver is from Belgium. I think she's Belgian. And therefore was in Action Force during the kind of Battle Action Force and Palatoy era. And she was a repaint of Scarlet and came with the basically a reish paint. I mean, it is a repaint. It's a different green, black, and everything of the Ram. Now, I think it's called like a rapid attack motorcycle, isn't it? But yeah, that. So basically, she came with that, and this particular version of her obviously is calling out her affiliation with Action Force, which even though at that point was like a international kind of all sorts of different, countries involved and territories and nations, was effectively from the UK. It was a UK comic and toy line and all that kind of stuff, and European as well. But mainly it was Palatoy was in the UK. So, that's why we have on one of her shoulders, well, we have armor that shows the same patch, the Night Force, kind of the updated Night Force patch. But we also have, if you move it down, the Union flag or the Union Jack. Now, there was a big thing back in the day, and I've changed my tune on this a little bit because people really refer to it as the Union Jack pretty much all the time now. It's how things happen. But it was only ever supposed to be referred to as a Union Jack when it was hoisted on a boat. So because, and I was always very particular to say Union flag, but obviously there's another Union flag, which we won't get into. So that particular flag was called the Union flag, but obviously is also colloquially called the Union Jack, and has now effectively been associated or is referred to as a Union Jack across the board now. So it's not just when it's hoisted on a boat. Now, anyway, so it might be one of those things where you're like, yeah, but she's Belgian. Yeah, but she also was in a team that was effectively a British team. Now, of course, we also have this little beauty, the Z Force logo. Z specifically, guys, okay? This isn't the Z Force, it's the Z Force. Now, the fact that that's on there is mind-blowing to me. That is such an awesome addition to what I already was sold was an awesome figure. And the fact that we've got, the fact that we've got that and the UK flag on there as well is pretty awesome. So very nice little talking about the all the badges and the bits and bobs first. Very, very cool. A lot of them had different names in Germany, Paul. Absolutely. Ula Wrigley. Yeah. But she's just so good. Let's have a look at that head sculpt first. So I'm really happy that they're doing different head sculpts completely for these like repaints of Scarlet. Effectively, Glenda's got a different head sculpt and hairstyle. Quarrel has as well, and they're really playing up the fact that the Scarlet figure back in the day didn't have the long hair; it had the short hair. So the kind of repaint. You can kind of say, yeah, this character doesn't have long hair. Like Quarrel can be that design, that kind of that look, that style. I love the throat mic and the earpiece. I think that's a really cool addition. Makes her look really tactical. Makes her look really important. It makes her look like she would be running the team almost. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's great. And I think like in terms of, that element of her, I love that addition. Now, with this particular figure, I think the shoulder pads armor looks really cool on her. I don't have the same inclination to remove it in the same way that I do with Falcon. I think it fits her form very nicely. I know this side has got massive pouches on it, but just a nice pop of color. And again, it doesn't stick out to the point where you're like, it looks a little bit wide or it looks a little bit too bulky. She looks really good. And the secondary is a good addition on there too as well. She looks really, everything looks really cool on this figure. You know, all the different deco hits, the black and the green and the red just looks so nice. That belt, I've pulled it down over the other belt, but I think it's kind of supposed to, like, I don't know, it kind of like maybe float over both a little bit. There is like another little peg hole in her other belt, which is on her body. You can see if I pull it up there. Can you see that? Is that supposed to be there, or is that a fault, or is that supposed to plug into something to plug into? Is that what Scarlet has on hers? And what plugs in there? I can't even see. It's right here though, the figure, so I'm gonna have a look at it in kind of like a comparison sort of vibe. So here they are in comparison. I'm just looking at the figures. Obviously, it is a different body. Is it shooters up? I don't know what the build is. Obviously, the arms are the same. You've got the same kind of like shuriken arms, basically. So that's really cool. But yeah, it looks like the torso is from, I want to say, shooter, and Scarlet's waist does have that port as well. But what's that port? Oh, is it for the belt? Oh, I see. It's what the belt plugs into. I see now. Right, that makes a lot of sense. So that port is effectively what I line up with the little belt. There we go. Okay, now that makes sense. And now it sits on her much better. There we go. So the belt locks into that. There's that little hole in her waist, and it just does a little notch on the interior of this kind of secondary belt, which just plugs in and brings this down. So you can see both belts kind of overlapping and the red kind of showing through there. Gratuitous bum shot there, of course. And then you've got the quiver. You've got the like the kind of knife sheath on the side, and of course just the boots at the bottom there. So yeah, it's a lot of Scarlet, but it's not all Scarlet, which is really cool. Again, like I like the fact that there's some elements on here that they've kind of changed up a little bit so that we don't get the same figure. We get like a completely different character, and obviously the change of the extra secondaries help a lot, and the different torso helps a massive amount to really differentiate her. I had some issues with the quiver and getting those things in originally, and now I've just realized one of them has fallen out of Scarlet's thing as well. Silly me. This is not a Scarlet video. I'm not unboxing Scarlet, but I need to pop this back in, otherwise it's going to go missing forever, isn't it? There we go. I do like Scarlet's crossbow though. I think it's wicked, and I love all the little bolts that she has and the different ones. But I had all sorts of issues working out what I could actually fit in the quiver, and then realized, okay, so she's always going to have that one in, because it's so awkward to try and get in, even if you go in like the other end sort of thing. Like the quiver's cool, but it doesn't quite find the arrows very comfortably for me anyway. And I love on Scarlet as well the fact that her hair goes over the back of the backpack. So I love gearing Scarlet up and having her hold like as much as she can. I think she looks amazing. I love this retro Scarlet. I think it's one of the most beautiful classified figures ever made. Just like the color as well, that kind of muted sort of the yellow and that kind of muted kind of gray blue kind of color. It's phenomenal. Yeah, she is one of my favorite retro figures so far. But that just makes this Quarrel figure another one that I am very, very happy with. So now that I've sorted that out and remembered that, yes, her belt locks into that, I'm going to get a few more accessories out. So we've got 2 more daggers, although I feel like does one of these go with, I mean, we've got these 2 daggers, right? I don't know which one goes with which. I'm going to just assume they're both with Quarrel, but I suppose they can mix and match these kind of things with each other. Oh no, they're both hers, of course. You've got the curved sort of like it's not a kukri, is it? It's like a smaller version of a kukri knife. And then you've got it might be a kukri. It's in that family anyway, and it's in that little red sheath there, which are pretty cool. Has like a little cut halfway up it, so you can get the blade in there, because obviously it's a very awkward shaped blade to kind of squeeze into there. But that's really nice. And then of course, yeah, the other knife just goes in that ain't a knife. Yes, it is, Chris. Yeah, that just goes in the little sheath on her thigh. Very nice. So this is, you know, this is what it's like when I'm learning on the job. The bent one goes in her upper torso, the straight one goes in her leg. Yes, Slave, thank you. I did work that out eventually. I just have to look at it for a bit and go, am I missing something here? Yeah, and I was. So yeah, she's semi geared up now with a couple of blades on her. I'm digging this Quarrel figure. I'm so excited and happy to have this Quarrel figure. Now let's see what she looks like with her alternate steel core helmet. First off, let's have a look at that beautiful little design on the sides as well. The wings, I just love those. I think they're really cool. In fact, let's look at both helmets because they are ever so slightly the same. They are the same, aren't they? Oh, have I just destroyed Scarlet? Well, so much for, yeah, that's brilliant. I just literally dropped loads of stuff down the side here, including that bolt I just put back on. Oh my goodness, where is that? That's lost forever. That has genuinely on live TV been lost to the sands of time, never to be found ever again because of my terrible elbow just bashing things over. Oh, that's frustrating. I'll deal with that later. Yeah, these helmets are exactly the same by the look of it. I thought there'd be like one slightly smaller than the other. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Just looking at them here, I couldn't quite tell, but maybe they are. Maybe one is slightly smaller than the other. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So this is the big boy. That's for Falcon, and yeah. So I thought they were different, but they don't look it. It's just a very ever so slightly smaller version of the other one. So I've popped her head off. That's actually really easy. Her head popped off really easy. In fact, the steel core one goes on nice as well. Oh, I tell you what though, I love that blonde head sculpt, but my goodness, that's phenomenal. I'm definitely going to have to get another Quarrel, aren't I, to do that with the head, because that steel core helmet is freaking awesome. Oh yeah, we're in. Am I gonna that's gonna bug me for the rest of the day? Bear with me for 20 seconds. That's too long. To see if I can find this. Oh, I found it. It was wedged. I've got this it's like a little fluffy dog bed under my where my feet are, because obviously Phoebe used to be in there. You know, she used to kind of lay down there back in the day. So it's sad to think about, but at least it's nice and comfy to put my feet on. So got it back. It's back in, and I will just try not to punch Scarlet in the freaking head while with my elbow while I'm doing this other thing on the side. You lay there nice and carefully. Anyway, this steel core version of Quarrel, or Squirrel being steel core, Squirrel we'll call her, is so good. Like am I thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have to get another one of these. I might have to put in a call to, I don't know, Hasbro. Hey Hasbro, even though you've done loads for me this weekend, what do you think? Anyway, this is so cool. Let's pop this head back on. I've got to admit though, it's such a dope head sculpt. So this is probably what I'm going to display, because I want Quarrel to be the character, you know? So there's that. Right. Next, there's more stuff in here. Oh, she's got other hands. I'm not a massive fan of extra hands. I've never really been a fan of hands. Hans Gruber, Hansel and Gretel. No, I've never really been a massive. I don't. Obviously, it's great for. I mean, it's a specific thing, isn't it? It's for like toy photographers who, and you know, well, not just toy photographers, but people that want to display their figures differently in different poses and different ways. And it obviously makes sense if you're going to have multiples where you can utilize all of these different kind of poses and extra bits and bobs and what have you. But for the most part, I get the figure and it's usually the default damager with little behavior. It's usually the default that I go with in terms of like a lot of these things, with the exception, of course, today, the obvious exception of Falcon, which I've just explained to you. I'm going to be removing those shoulder parts. And not because, like I said, I just don't like the bulk on him. But like I said, if it's going to be a steel core character, I'm 100% putting that on there. Got to work out how this... Right, so the crossbow comes into two pieces, like so. And you've got to line up the... You see, this side's got a trench, and this side has got a trench, and you can just line those up. So you know which way it's going based on those trench kind of parts. That is not wanting to join together, though, for some reason. Why do you not want to go in that little hole? Why? Interesting. Mine might have a bit of a fault with it. It's sort of gone on. It's not clean, though. I'm not sure if you guys have had that issue with this. Obviously, the other one with Scarlet went on no problem, and actually, I think, clicked in. But this one is definitely not quite right. Anyway, it's on. It's not going anywhere. It's there. Look, a little bit of a bent butt on that one, but again, nothing a bit of heat won't fix. Oh, I've also got to get... Yeah, that's another thing. I've got to get out all of the different bolts, and annoyingly, it's multiple bits of tape. Okay, I just got to squeeze them out because I want to put the bolts in her quiver, and then one obviously on the crossbow itself. So let's do that. We've got this bolt, pretty... Let's hold it in the middle. Pretty standard kind of little arrow there, a little crossbow bolt. We've got two of those. There's another one. Standard triangular tipped, slightly different triangles actually. Let's just show you both of them at the same time so you can see the differences. One's like an elongated kind of like triangle. One's like a bit more of a kind of stumpy, shorter one with kind of curved edges. So that's neat. That's interesting. For me, it's interesting anyway. Lots of nice little details in things like that. It's not just the same thing over and over again. But we do have two more to look at. This one is even shorter, even smaller little tip there on that one. And of course, this wonky geezer, which is like a, I don't know, some sort of like grappling hook sort of job. Pretty neat though. It's nice to have those kind of like different Hawkeye jobs, isn't it? Lots of different options. It's like Lady J's spears. They have to have lots of different ones to make sense. No figure stands, which I don't really care, actually. I'm not a massive fan of figure stands, but it would have been cool to have like little Night Force logoed ones, I think, just for shizzes and giggles. So let's pop these. So we've got that quiver on the side there, and I'm just going to pop these in kind of like arrow first, so that the what do they call it? The flight sticks out. I think it's called a flight. It is on an actual on a dart. I'm not sure if it's called a flight on a crossbow bolt. It might be, probably is. So all three kind of go in there nicely-ish. Let's move her hand out of the way so you can actually see that. There you go. So I could probably push one in a bit further, but that'll do for me. That'll do for me. It's kind of like when you start putting too many spoons in the spoon drawer or something, and they start kind of like not quite lining up. There you go. That's nice. I'm happy with that. That's a good quiverage. And the same kind of situation. I'm going to do the grappling hook in the crossbow bolt. Which is really interesting that, you know, but it has like a nice little kind of shape for it to kind of like lie in. So you'll see that where the flight is kind of there, where the flight is on the crossbow bolt, there's a little indentation for it to kind of like sit in nicely in the trench. So you've got this kind of trench running all the way through, but then there's like a space either side for the flight to kind of sit in there, and then I just put it in like that, and then that's where it kind of locks it in. I'm missing loads of comments. My apologies. There's probably been like a million. Scarlet was an adventurer until she took an arrow to the knee, says New York Knight 1974. Paul Sidaway, that Scarlet is my favourite version of any scale. Agreed, Paul. Squirrel, of course, Scott. Why didn't I think of that? Steel Core Quarrel is Squirrel. Looks good with that helmet, Willa. She really does look good with that helmet. I have to say, she looks phenomenal. Hans Zimmerman, there's one I missed. Blitz, definitely. We need steel core helmets for the rest of Night Force. Yes, we do. We do now. I love that they put the Z logo on Quarrel. Same Windblade. I wish Scarlet had some chopping hands, since she's known for doing. Yeah, she's doing the martial arts slave. Yeah, big time. That's a good point, actually. I'm not sure what hands she came with now, because I would have left them in the box anyway. Here are the. Speaking of extra hands, we've got 2 fists for Quarrel here, which I'm not going to bother. You know how those go. They come off. It's quite simple. But I'm kind of going to put all of her kind of gear on and everything. Now she doesn't have, and I know this has been the main quarrel with the figure, is the fact that she comes with this pistol, but nowhere to holster it, which is a bit of a shame. It's a nice pistol. I am all the quiver. It would have been cool if there was a holster on the quiver. Like that would have been pretty dope. Sort of like, so it kind of sat there or something. That would have been really cool. But yeah, that isn't the case, unfortunately. Because yeah, she can hold it, but she's got a crossbow. And not only has she got a crossbow, but she's got this beauty as well. That's an absolute belter of a machine gun. And of course, the flashlight. So she's kind of run out of options for storage, unfortunately. She's got 4 items to utilize, but no more storage options, which is a shame in my opinion. So I'm going to give her the crossbow, mainly because she got it originally, but like at the same time, it's if you've got the quiver kind of attached to you and crossbow bolts, if you don't have the crossbow, really, what are you playing at? So she gets the crossbow like so, like cross so she's got the crossbow, but also I'm going to throw in the pistol in hand as well, and then they don't both need to have flashlights. Made a mistake there, didn't I? They don't both need to have those, so that's why I call them torches. They don't both need to have them in this narrative. So I'm going to say that Falcon can be the flashlight guy, and Quarrel can back up with the crossbow and a pistol. And that just makes the most sense to me in terms of what she's carrying and what gear she's got. But it's a shame that we don't have somewhere for the flashlight, the rifle. A backpack would have been really cool. I don't see why they couldn't have done the retro Scarlet backpack, which has got gun storage options as well, including the same rifle that Quarrel comes with in black, but in green, as you can see there. So yeah, it's a shame that we don't get a backpack with Quarrel. He says, just desperately looking to see if there was anything else in there, but no. But either way, I am a massive fan of this figure. I think she looks great. I think a backpack would have been perfect, though, to just round out that, or something like a gun, or not a gun holster backpack, but something to give us some extra storage for some of these weapons and accessories. It's my only kind of quarrel with figures when they don't carry all their gear, sort of thing. Let's get through these comments again. Mine's not clean either, says Chris G. What was I talking about that wasn't clean? Scott, the connection. Scott Skeen says one's barbed broadhead, the other is hunting. Oh, right, you mean the different arrow points. Cool, thank you. The different heads for different targets, flesh, armor, tracker bolt. Cool, thank you, Chris. Temu has really cheap stands at the moment. I grabbed 10 for about $3. No idea if they're going to work, but worth sacrificing a Starbucks trip to check. Yes, indeed. Chris is all a quiver. I certainly am, Scott. Scarlet also came with a pistol and no place to put it. Yes, she did. You're right, actually. Even just a peg to holster it somewhere would be great. Yeah, totally. Scott Skeen says, without the crossbow, she'd be called Quarrel because she is belligerent. Costed out, says Chris. I'm sure, yeah. Chris, what do you do with your extra accessories? I put mine in small Ziploc bags, so all the items for a figure are together. Well, funnily enough, they end up going in front of the figure on display for the most part. If there's like arms and other things and heads, extra heads, they tend to go in. I have like a storage container thing with lots of, different compartments, and I usually put them in there. So I get to the point sometimes where I'm like, I don't know what goes with what figure, honestly, but I don't really care because I kind of do the, I kind of do the display as I want to do them, and then the rest of the bits I'm not that fussed about a lot of the time. But here they are. Here are the crazy kids, Falcon and Quarrel in the Night Force team. I've got to say, I like this 2-pack a lot. Falcon, obviously his new look, the head sculpt is beautiful. The build is great. I'm a big fan of this Falcon. I hope we get another kind of more retro, standard deco, utilizing the same build at some point. And this Scarlet, this Quarrel, joking, is outstanding. My only gripes, as I said before, are the obvious ones. Well, actually, one gripe I've just noticed here. Look at her crossbow quickly. Wait, there you go. Look, see that? See how it's wobbling a little bit in her hand? Let me just do this. It's easier. It wobbles in her hand a little bit, so she doesn't kind of grip it very tightly, which I think is that the same problem that Scarlet has? Yeah, it's quite loose in the hand. But I will say it's still really cool, and obviously she has to have it because she had it originally. I'm just going to push the bolt back in properly. In fact, that bolt is supposed to kind of clip into that end piece, isn't it? Like so. There we go. It just keeps pushing itself out. It's not quite lining up. There we go. It's there now. Yeah, like a couple of things. Obviously, the lack of storage on the figure is a little bit of an issue. If there's not anywhere to store certain things, I don't necessarily think you need to really include it. Like, I know she has to have like a pistol, but I kind of think she needs to have a holster as well. And I know that would mean redoing the whole, maybe secondary kind of situation. But I really do feel like Scarlet needed it as well. So it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world to do that for that. The flashlight, obviously, there's 2 of them because they come from Tunnel Rat in the first place, don't they? So they've kind of given 1 to each character, and obviously Falcon has a place to put his, even though it's a bit of a difficult job getting it in that belt loop. But yeah, like they're going to have to hold them, and there's nowhere to keep them. So for me, my only gripe is the storage options on Quarrel. There's no gripes really for Falcon. I think it's really cool. I think the fact that he's got those armor pieces as well is not a negative for me. I just prefer his look without them. I prefer that kind of like, like I said, form-fitting sort of like non-armored style. But if I was to get another one of this 2-pack, I would definitely put the steel core helmets on, and I would put all the armor on as well, and they would be proper steel cored up. So that would be awesome. It's funny with Quarrel, when she puts her steel core helmet on, she feels like Quarrel, isn't it? Like steel core Quarrel. When I put the steel core helmet on Falcon and the shoulder pieces, it feels like a steel core generic trooper. I quite like that a lot. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then some of the other accessories are, fun to get, again, in a different deco, in different colors or what have you. But, I don't think I'm going to use the goggles much. Maybe someone else can utilize them. I don't know, maybe low light, because I've got low light wearing the same ones, but for the Marauders team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to. It's not like it's not a negative, because you always have the option to just not put it in there or not display it with it or just not use it. And because that is an option, there's no argument from me on that one, really. So anyway, wonderful stuff. There we go. That's everything. That's the 2-pack. I've bust into it. These are how they're going to display on my shelf. I'm very excited to add them to the Night Force segment, which is really building up, because I've got the Steel Core Commander in there, I've got Low Light in there, and I've got the 00 Snake Eyes in there. So, and I've got 2 Big Bens, one with the different head sculpts. So it's getting busy in there. So I might have to sacrifice one of the ones I put in there as like a filler for these 2 Buttes actual Night Force team. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me while I went through unboxing these. We'll be doing Starduster hopefully tomorrow, depending on what the the situation is with news and what have you. I'm gonna stop now so that we can get involved in some family American football, family NFL, and then after the game I will probably be doing a Patreon episode as well for Sunday. So I've got a lot to squeeze in today, but I wanted to do this. I wanted to get these out so I could actually display them and enjoy them. And also I thought it'd be fun to bring back the unboxings now that I'm getting stuff, not weeks and weeks and months later. Right. Have a rest of your wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining me. Sorry for the beginning and talking for ages about the weird things that happened to me yesterday. Today was a lot less of the small world sort of things, but whatever. I have got so. Oh, did you enjoy the Tony interview, by the way? I know it's a bit quick and a little bit loud. I did get there really early. This is another funny story. So we had this email come through, and it gave us the specific details of how we enter the building for the Hasbro press breakfast. All of this stuff, like laid out. There's work going on the front of the building. You have to come around the back. Here's the door and the dress and everything, and you have to go in and you have to do security, and you have to message. You have to send this link on the thing. There's loads of stuff you had to do. I turn up early, really early, almost over an hour early, and I turn up really early. I get there and I bump into Chris from Magic the Gathering at Hasbro as he's going in as well. And I just went straight in with him. We went straight into the elevator, and some guy keyed us in, talked to Chris, shook his hand and everything, talked about Magic the Gathering, and everyone just assumed I was with Hasbro. So I just went up in the lift, got in, walked into the office, and it's the office. Everyone, people were in there doing stuff, and I just walked in and was like, "Hi," and they're like, "What are you? How are you in here? How did you get in here?" It was like the most accidental Ocean's 11 maneuver, the most accidental Mission Impossible thing ever, the most accidental ninja thing ever, Chris, ever. I just literally walked through, and it was just a complete accident, because I was just I guess I have to go here to then see someone to scan this, or no, just Zartanned my that's so funny that I said that as that came up on the screen. Just Zartanned my way in with the disguise, pulled off the mask. It's oh, it's not Lenny at all, it's Chris. But anyway, it was so funny. And then for the rest of the time, we were just joking about me being able to getting into any situation. They were saying, "Could you help us get into this building and get into that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And also the view, I'm not sure if you could see behind Tony, but my goodness, gorgeous. You got the view over Madison Square Park is really nice, and we're only a little, a few blocks away from Union Square, a couple of blocks from Union Square, which is really cool too if you've ever been to New York. It was really nice, really cool. 11th floor as well, stunning. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Massive shout out to Hasbro for allowing me to sneak in like a crazy ninja. And I sort of help with setup as much as you can when they're all really busy doing stuff. And they do ask for your help and you do it. But it's am I helping or am I just getting in the way? Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Tony. There's another video going around as well that Tony did with Hasbro themselves, which is not as good. It's certainly better audio. Unfortunately, we were in the room when everybody was being interviewed. It was really loud in that room, unfortunately, but we just about could hear me and Tony, and I hope you could too in that interview. We've got loads more stuff coming, loads more lined up. Like I said, Skybound round the corner, so I want to talk to the Skybound guys. They were just so good. And yeah, lots to kind of get into, so stay fresh, cheese bags, and stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, as we always do up in this mug, after 3, as Tony reminded me, of course, 1, 2, 3, full force. Laters. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.